Hello and welcome back. This is Into the Dungeonverse, episode 24. Thank you for joining me here today. I am Mr. Adam, your host and guide. This show is brought to you by NewMinds.tv and Masters of the Dungeonverse, our role-playing program here at New Minds Enrichment. So this is the conclusion this week for our interactive quest. We are wrapping up our Star Wars story. So get your dice, get your pencils, your character sheets, your coins to flip, and get ready because we are going to be hopping right into the quest. Excuse me, I had some dust on my laptop. It distracted me entirely. I had to fix it. So we're going to start with just a little bit of review of our story. I did remember the alien I struggled with so hard yesterday's episode was an Ithorian. I had misplaced my note for that, so it really bothered me when I was presenting, but it's an Ithorian. So I think you see one at the Mos Eisley spaceport in A New Hope, if you're looking for a reference to what that is. So there you go. If you were waiting with bated breath to find out what alien it actually was, it was an Ithorian. There it is. So let us, without further ado, get into our quest for today. We have a lot planned. This is an action-packed episode. Lots of challenges for you to tackle. A lot of story. So let's get right into it. If this is your very first time watching one of our episodes, my recommendation to you is to pause right here. And actually, our interactive quest starts at episode 6. But if you go back to next week or last week, you can start the Star Wars story. All you need to do is start your character with 20 out of 20 hit points, come up with a name, and you can start the story where you want. But know that all of our episodes are available for you at newminds.tv or actually in a playlist on Facebook for you to watch. So I recommend going back to the earlier episodes. You can collect items and skills and abilities that will help you. You're actually going to see that a lot today in today's episode. So I hope that you have your character sheets totally filled out. All right, methods of randomization you all know is our coin toss, standard die like a D6 that you find in Yahtzee or Sorry, a D20 that's very common in D20-based systems like Pathfinder and Dungeons & Dragons. And then finally, we have our randomization table, which we made for you, just for you. You can use it, and I'll show you a sample of that here in just a second. Our difficulty table is just as follows. If you want to pause right now, take a picture, you can use this in your own games, or you can just have it for your own reference, but there it is for you right there. And then there's that randomization table I was talking about. This is something that you can just toss random crumpled up bits of paper on without looking. Whatever it lands on is going to give you your result in whatever action that might be. So there's a randomization table that is available in the description as a PDF. You can download that, print it out, or you can pause and copy, make your own. Make sure you're keeping track on your character sheet because you're going to have opportunities when you have skills and abilities that you've gained. We do so much in each episode, it'll be very easy to forget a couple of things, a blaster here, a bowcaster there, an ace ability over there. So make sure you write those down. It doesn't even have to be written out totally. You can make little pictures or icons. This is your character sheet. It's really for you. No one's going to grade you on it, so use it as you will for yourself. And there is a sample character sheet that we also have available in the description for you to use. All right, let us get back into our story. Last time you had been captured by some Hutts and forced to enter their twisted like battle race where you're going to be battling with other people. Your Jedi companion Jara Khan went along with this because she felt that the Force was guiding you to this spot. And it turns out she may have been right, as she discovered that the location that you need to go to save her companion Zeldra is actually very, very close to the racetrack. So as long as you can stay alive in this race and make it to that point, you'll be able to break off and get to your destination, though you're going to have to deal with the guards. So let us begin. Last time as the race began, there were lots of people in the audience cheering. They were excited for the conflict to begin, and the moment you set off, someone who had been kind of staring you down earlier pulled their vehicle up, and they pulled out a javelin and they tossed it at you. But this wasn't just a regular javelin, it was one that had explosives on it. So you had a chance to deal with this. You could have deflected it with your lightsaber or sliced it with your lightsaber, tried to shoot it, or even used the Force And that was the very beginning of the race and the start of your conflict, and it only gets worse from there. After you dealt with that, you may have taken vehicle damage, you may have not taken any at all. Let's see where you're at as the quest continues. As you soar through the desert, you might be pulling ahead of the group depending on the success of your action, or you might be lagging behind. But you're going to hear like, I don't know if it's a chant or just a primal bestial yell, but you then hear gunfire coming across the cliffs. Someone or a group of someone's are taking shots at you and the other racers from the cliffs. You're going to have to take over the piloting here if you want, or you can let Jara-Khan do it and you can kind of help guide her. But if you have the ace skill from an earlier episode, I would recommend you taking the helm, because it's going to make it a little bit easier for you. The difficulty to start is medium. However, if you have the ace skill from a prior episode, it would have been the first in our Star Wars series, you get to take that as easy. So flip your coins, roll your dice, roll your d20, roll on the table, see what happens. If you fail, you're going to take 1 vehicle damage as the raiders shoot a key part of your vehicle, causing something to start spinning or smoking or sparking or doing some indication that you are damaged. You can choose what that flavor is for you. Alright, if you need to take a moment to pause and continue your actions, or you can do that. If you succeed, you take no damage and you whiz by, the sand just kind of popping up as the bullets are going to miss you entirely. So what happened to you? Were you struck, or did you make it by with no issue? The race is going to continue because this is waiting for no one. Everyone is in a full frenzy trying to battle and crash into other people. Jara-Khan is recommending that you kind of stay out of the conflict, which seems like a pretty good idea to you because it is in like almost a pitch battle at this point. As you weave in and out of these different vehicles, you're going to clear through the desert. And then Jara-Khan says, "This is it! Turn right! It's our opening!" And you break off from the pack. And an unexpected turn of events, the new prisoners have! Well, I guess it's not this unexpected, they fled! But this is why we have our defenses! And then you're going to hear the crowd go really wild, as if they're about to see the best fireworks show in the world. You're breaking off and you're heading towards the cliffs. We just have to get to the cliffs before... And then you hear a... from behind you. And you turn to see the guards that have been following along with the race have set off their missile. This is a massive thing, and the flames coming out from it are huge, and it is rocketing directly toward you. You need to decide what your action is. Are you going to increase speed and try to hunker down and get moving a little bit more quickly? Or are you going to shoot it down using your blaster rifle, perhaps like you did with the javelin? Or maybe you're going to use the force to redirect this massive missile as it hurtles towards you, propelled by this ferocious flame that you see behind it. So take a moment to decide. What will you do? Will you take the wheel, so to speak? Increase your speed? Try to shoot it down as Jara-Khan flies? Or maybe you're going to use the force? Take a moment to consider your options here. This is a very tense moment because this missile is massive. What will you do? Will you increase your speed trying to outrun it? If you go over this cliff that Jara-Khan says is ahead, you should be able to dodge it and miss it entirely. Or will you shoot it down before it ever reaches you? Or will you use the force that you have maybe become accustomed to using recently since you've been in this world? If you're watching, or if you haven't decided yet, go ahead and pause here because we're moving on to our difficulty and result. Okay, so this one is hard to increase your speed and to shoot it down, but you notice that medium is down there below that. Depending on if you have one of these skills, it might help you out here. If you increase your speed and fail, you're going to be hit and you're going to take 1 vehicle damage. Remember that your vehicle only has 3 hit points. So if you were damaged in the first encounter and by the raiders and by this, your vehicle is out, and you need to start the race over. So you can pause, go back to the beginning of the race, and work your way back through. Hopefully you make it this time. You're lucky that the sleepers have this ability to just restart. If you succeed, you don't get hit, you don't take any damage. If you try to shoot it down and you fail, same thing. Your vehicle is hit, you take 1 damage. If you succeed, you don't get hit and you don't take damage. So the skills that can actually lower your difficulty from hard to medium for the increasing speed and shooting it down choices are going to be the ace skill and the shoot 'em down skill, which you can see how that one's connected, right? So if you have either of those skills, you can drop your difficulty down to medium for that role. Now, if you're using the Force, this might have worked out well for you in the past, but this time, not so much. This is a massive vehicle, or not vehicle, this is a massive missile, as I described previously. It is powerful. You're going to have a lot of trouble using the Force to move this down as quickly as it's hurtling towards you. So this one is very hard. This one's very hard, and I didn't put it in there, but it's over, or rather it's over to the left. The hard difficulty can be used if you have Force sensitivity level 2. So if you have Force sensitivity level 2, the difficulty for using the Force is hard, so still pretty challenging. All right, so which one are you going to do? Or rather, was it successful? You make your rolls, flip your coins, see if you were able to make it out. If it's a hard difficulty, you're having to get 5 heads in a row to succeed. Or is your ship taking damage, your vehicle taking damage here? All right, if you need a little bit more time to decide, you can take that, you can take this pause, and then we're gonna move on as you continue hurtling over the desert. And there it is, you see the cliff coming up. Our destination is just below, hit it! And you thrust over the edge, flying out and landing on the desert below. And you can see the missile if you dodged it, or if you shot it, you'll see it explode as you're going off the edge of the cliff. You use the Force, you might see that same thing as it detonates on something nearby. Or if you just hit it and went through, the missile is going to go over and then lose track of you and just kind of aimlessly fly off until running into a cliff somewhere else. But you will land on the desert floor below. Your vehicle damaged beyond the point of moving now, but fortunately it got you this far. We're almost here. We need to hurry. I think that's that just ahead. You see a strange black structure towering out of the desert, and you feel something very familiar. If you were at the curse before, at the Gray Island, the feeling that it created when you were there is the very same that you feel now. A feeling of unnatural unease as it just permeates the air that you breathe. And you move closer to it. You're going to see Jara Khan's hand fly to her hip. We are not alone here. Prepare yourself for battle. And as you move forward, you're going to see this kind of black dust emanating out of this dark fortress you see ahead. And they form these ethereal sort of shapes until eventually they manifest as these black robes with face masks of white in the center. And out from their robes they pull red lightsabers. These must be servants of the darkness and of the curse. You're going to have to break through them to get through. You know that you are the only one who can break the curse. Jara Khan cannot do this, and perhaps you have relayed this to her at this point. You can decide if you've revealed that information or if it will be at this moment that you tell her. But she says, there are many of them. We're going to have to break through. You are the key to this all, are you not? If you've told her she knows this for certain, then you must go ahead. I will hold them off. We'll use all the skills that I have, and I will draw their attention away from you. You break through, you get in, and stop whatever it is that turns Zeldra into a Sith. You must do this. Don't worry, I'll be safe. I will get away from them as soon as I can. I feel that whatever you will do in there will eliminate them. So please, just hurry. And you're going to see her green lightsaber come out. May the Force be with you, friend, and thank you for traveling with me thus far. And you must battle the Sith. There's a horde of them just awaiting you, the red glow. There's no avoiding this fight. You will have to fight them to get through. It is a clash of blades. This is very hard. If you fail, you will take 19 damage as they surround you and slash at you with their lightsabers from multiple sides. If you've taken damage earlier in the race, this might be enough to take you out of your journey, and you will awaken again at the beginning of the race, perhaps a chance to try once more. However, if you took your own path whenever you were chasing after Jar Khan initially, you were taught the Ataru Striker method if you succeeded. This will lower your difficulty to a medium because the Ataru Striker method is a Jedi skill that allows you to move quickly and gracefully through individuals that are also wielding lightsabers. So this is going to lower your difficulty as your goal is to break through these ranks and get into the entrance of that massive black citadel. So make your rolls and flip your coins. If this is very hard, you have to get 6 heads in a row on your coin toss to make this work. If you failed and you weren't taken out, then you can stagger through, burned and singed and wounded, but still going, just barely. What was the result? Did you succeed? Did you fail? Are you starting your quest over again at the beginning of the race? Of course, if you want to do it differently, you could start at the beginning of that battle. This is your story. Remember that I'm only telling part of it. Did you succeed in defeating them? Did you make your way past wounded? If you haven't finished your rolls, now is a good time to pause, because we are going to continue on as you make your way past these foes and into the Dark Citadel. As you walk into this place, you can feel a palpable hatred, an anger, a rage, a wrath. The air is thick with it. You might be glad that Jar Khan didn't come with you, because you can feel this anger trying to wash over you and consume you. But that bubble that surrounded you once before, that sanctuary that protected you from the curse, appears again and causes it to shed off of you. Like water off of a duck's back. It protects you as you move deeper into this abyss of evil. You can find yourself. Perhaps your fingers are getting numb. Perhaps you're getting excited. How does your character respond to this moment of tension as you approach a great evil? Is this becoming normal for you? Or how are you worried how many more you can face? What is your character's journey? When finally you arrive at the center room and you can tell that this is the nexus, the nucleus of this evil, and you recognize that it is an artifact just like the one you encountered before. Last time, your power activated and it absorbed this energy, seeming to purge it. But you may choose here how you deal with this. Do you take your lightsaber and plunge it or slash through it? Do you use the Force to crush it? Do you dive into it knowing that your power will activate and consume it? How does your character eliminate this threat that has destroyed so many things and created such evil? Whatever you do, when you act, you can feel that power activate. You can feel it surge through your bones and your body as it rushes outward and envelops this artifact. Perhaps you slashed through it, perhaps you shot it with your bowcaster, and you have one, why not? Perhaps you wrapped your arms around it and let your power do its work, but however you did it, it happens. The energy wraps around it, consuming it, and then there's a flash of light. One that you recognize. One from before. And you feel yourself being torn and put together and rushed and underwater and going through the air, and then suddenly you are back where you started. This is the temple where you put the lightsaber into the artifact and you traveled back. You've returned to your original timeline. And you see a robed figure standing where the Sith would have been, because they had chased you into that temple. But when they turn, you see that their eyes are not yellow. They are not tinged with hatred. They are filled with tears. And they say, "You, do I know you?" Maybe you respond with a little bit of disgust. This person was once a Sith, but they seem to be happy that they are back. They are where you are. And then you hear Jara Khan approach, a brown-robed figure, the one that had been crushed underneath the temple. She steps out and she says, "Zeldra, you are back. You are yourself once more." And they embrace, but only briefly, because you are interrupted. As I accidentally put the slide up just before, Remy is still under attack. She is battling the starfighters that she had to keep busy while you came into the temple. You didn't have a chance to help her here. And you now also have two allies. They turn and they look at you. "Whatever you need, friend, we are here for you. Let us help you." And so now you get to team up to take down the TIE fighters. What are you going to do with your new companions, or your old companion and your new, once enemy, now companion? Are you going to slice them down using your lightsabers? Maybe you'll throw your lightsaber through the air. Maybe you'll jump from tree to tree, slashing them as they fly by. Are you going to use the Force to pull it down to the ground, or to run them into each other, or perhaps to cause them to crash into a tree? Or maybe you're going to have your companions throw you in the air so you may board one of these vessels, use your ace piloting skill to take the other ones down, and save your friend. What do you choose? How are you going to handle this? Will you slice them? Will you force them to land? Will you board one? This is your friend, your airship captain, who's been keeping these people busy for you. Whatever you choose to do with the assistance that you have available, you will succeed. This is one of those moments where I get to say, how do you want it to happen? You can do whatever you want here. This is the climax of your Star Wars awesomeness. With your companions here and with the Force so strongly wrapped around you, you're able to succeed and save your friend. Congratulations. Remy is going to land safely nearby, and she's going to get off of the ship. You and your companions will approach. Remy is going to walk up, and she's going to immediately embrace you in a huge hug, and then immediately let go and say, "I didn't hug you. I'm glad you're okay." I think did everything work out? There's a new person who, and you explain everything. You tell this whole story of how you traveled through time, and Jara Khan will fill in the gaps here, and then finally it will end with Zeldra and Jara Khan looking at you and saying, "My friend, thank you for everything you've done." Zeldra will say, "I cannot forget what you saved me from. I fell to a darkness and I could not get out. And thanks to you, I am once more myself, and I can serve the Jedi Order again and more dutifully than before. I will not forget this." Jara Khan says, "And neither will I. But I think, friend, that there are other places for you to be. There are others for you to save, are there not?" Remy is going to say, "Yeah, actually, I think there is. I got a message earlier, but I haven't been able to check it yet." "Then though it pains me to say so," Jara Khan says, inclining her head, "I think for now we must part ways. Perhaps we will see each other again. But know that even when you leave this place, The Force will be with you, always. And you board your ship, flying away from your new friend. Perhaps you tried to give the lightsaber back to her. You can do that. She will take the lightsaber back from you and she will say thank you. I appreciate you holding on to it while I was unable to use it myself. I hope that you put it to good use. But I think you should take it with you. Remember this. I can make another. You've earned it. Use it to protect others. And you fly off, leaving them in the woods. You see them look at each other for a moment and then embrace. You have saved two friends, but who knows what else you have saved in the process. You fly past the blue-hued sand once more, leaving this strange desert planet behind, and you break atmosphere. Remy is going to walk up, and it's different for each of us, but you may have pushed the red button earlier. Maybe it was Remy. However, she's going to point it out once more, and she's going to say, should we do it again, just for fun? After setting her destination into the keypad. You can decide if you let her push it, if you push it yourself, stealing the opportunity, or maybe you do a 1, 2, 3 and you push it at the same time. You can decide how you do that, but the moment you do, the hyperdrive kicks into gear, the stars blur, and you plunge straight through space. Not time this time, just space. And you arrive back at where you came. You can see in the distance the fade, that great darkness which you know you came through even just to get into the Star Wars universe. This thing that surrounds all of it. It seems to be weaker now, as if whatever you've done has caused it to lose its strength. But now, you must plunge into it once more. You kick the thrusters on your ship, and when you hit it, there's a resistance until eventually you break past a barrier, and you feel yourself fade out of existence into nothingness as you push back through into the Dungeonverse. And that concludes our Star Wars story for this week and for now. We may return to the Star Wars universe in the future, but for now you are going back into the Dungeonverse. Where will you go next time? What kind of world will you visit? What will your quest be? What challenges will you face? All of this and more you can find out next time when you tune in for your Dungeonverse quest. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of our Star Wars interactive quest. I hope you enjoyed all of the lightsaber slashing, the blaster blasting, and the starship flying, because I love the Star Wars universe, all of the stories that come out of it, and all the awesome action sequences that occur. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to create this Star Wars story and kind of celebration of Mr. Walter opening up his Star Wars role-playing program through Masters of the Dungeonverse, where he plays a Star Wars RPG with you live. Not like this where you're following along with a story, but where you get to interact with your Dungeon Master. So we have those available Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for all different ages. If you want to try out role-playing and you've never had a chance before, this is a great place to do it. We'll teach you everything. You don't need any materials. It's all online, so it's there for you to enjoy. So if you haven't checked that out yet, definitely do. And if you want to reach out with any questions, I'm more than happy to answer any of them. It is going to be an absolute blast, and I am so looking forward to it myself. So thank you for tuning in to some real inspired learning. Remember to always pursue your passion until it becomes your talent. Regardless of what your passion is, regardless of what you want your talent to be, we each have our own individual and unique skills. Just like a Dungeons & Dragons party, you have to have a wizard and a barbarian and a fighter and a paladin, or a mixture of different kinds. You can't just have all of one of the same. You gotta have different kinds of people. Same thing for real life. We need all of those different skills. We need all of those talents. So whatever it is, no matter how kooky it is, even if it's running fantasy story games for people, pursue it and keep pursuing it until you are happy with where you are at. So, up next is Round the World with Mr. Walter, followed by the Steam Train with Mr. Dorian. We will then have a New Minds lesson from the vault and end our day with our CEO, Ben Cook. All of these episodes and more are available for you at newminds.tv, where you can watch any of them at your leisure. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. Tomorrow is going to be our role-playing resources, where we wrap up the week in creating a resource right in front of you, but also making it available for you to play with your family or your friends. So this is something that you can run a story, and it doesn't have to be you don't have to use an existing system. You can use an existing system. It's neutrally written, so that way you can use it however you want. You can even make up your own rules or use the rules from the show. It's up to you, because it's your game that you get to run. Man, you all have an excellent day, and we will catch you tomorrow.